Yay!
Yeah. So, Meru,
Up.
what's up, gorgeous?
Hi. How's
Hey.
everybody doing?
Good day. So, I first of all, I'm just beyond grateful that Meru chose to join us here today. She, as most of you guys already know, she's been my astrology mentor ever since we met, and she's actually the reason why I'm doing this today, why this is created. So, and I just wanted to. My idea was to go into like the starseed stuff and the deeper parts of the real unique astrology aspects that Maru created. But I'm just gonna kind of let her channel it and do whatever it is that she wants to do. So, Maru, welcome to the opportunity community, and thanks so much for showing up.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that so very much. And it's been a beautiful journey to be your friend and to work alongside you and to see your process of growth. And for any of you who don't know me, my name is Meru Matu. I am the creator of SunSoulAstrology. And I've kind of created my own niche within the world. And I've blended quantum physics with astrology using Western equal house perspective. And the reason I do that is to hold true to like what, spiritual bodybuilder has behind him, which is all sacred geometry and angles that incorporate all of life's aspects and energy frequencies. So astrology was originally created by Thoth, who created all knowledge and also sacred geometry. So that's why I use equal house and I use Western. That's what works for me the best. And as my journey through this process has taken effect, starseed locations just really started to come in very heavy as I am a walk-in from Sirius B, and I have a strong connection to those outer locations that most of us up until now have just been going off of intuition, which is great, being told by somebody else, oh, you're Pleiadian or you're Arcturian. And that's all well and great, that's good. But I'm just one of those people that I like more factual information. I like to be able to back something up with evidence. So of course I love quantum physics, which there is no backup for, right? It's pretty funny because it's just such a beautiful expression of the universe, and we're at this place where we're stepping into such a different energy than what we've been in previously. And it's about community, it's about other people, and it's about taking the initiative because we're souls that have been incarnating since the dawn of time. If we've passed the test at the end to weigh our heart, heavy as a stone or light as a feather. And if you're here, it's because you weighed light as a feather. So, and that's a big congratulations. Of course, not everybody in this simulation is actually housing a real soul, so don't get that twisted. But for those of you out there that are looking to discover more about yourself from a very unique perspective that's not traditionally found within astrological interpretations, and also, discover your actual lineage. So I produce something called the Starseed DNA PDF, and that goes through your natal chart and takes into account your AC, your DC, your MC, your IC, all of your personal planets and your outer planets. What it doesn't consider, and what a lot of people like to try to bring into this conversation, is asteroids, including Chiron. That's an absolute no whenever it comes to starseed locations. The reason being is that those are really quick transiting bodies. They move around quite a lot, and our souls don't have connections in the same way as our actual planetary blueprint does carry. So matching those locations with the starseed placements out there, so if you are a starseed from Regulus or from Cygnus, which is a location very rarely even spoken about, the Ophiuchian stars, that this is where your extraterrestrial DNA actually comes from. So there's a lot of information that's housed within all of these places, not just like locational information as far as, astronomy. It's blended, it has a lot of astronomical aspects to it that I go into, plus all of the attributes about who you are And it just adds another layer to this really interesting and complex story about who you are at your core. Why do you do some of the things that you do? Why have you always felt those feelings that you feel? And also, knowing really helps to support a person through the process. Like, I remember whenever I was first beginning my journey in astrology and I learned about Virgo, and I was like, wow, I could really just take a break then. I didn't know I was supposed to like really fix the world. No, like I don't have to carry such a heavy burden. I can actually just chill, um, and get what I call a big case of the efforts and kind of just go along with the process. So one really amazing thing about meeting with all of you today is that I finally, on my YouTube channel, I did start it on the first day of Mercury retrograde in December of 2016. It was Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. And so my first video I posted on December the 20th. So it's been over 3 years, just coming up on 4. And today I finally hit the 20,000 subscriber mark on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations. Hell
Dang.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It took a long time, but um, happy to be here. And I was looking back on some of my first videos and I'm just like, wow, I'm so grateful to have just tapped into this information and into this realm and to have followed all of the guidance that it has provided and to see what's really manifested from it. It's just, you know, anyone out there studying this and just whether or not you want to, it doesn't matter what you want to do with any of the information that you learned here in the opportunity community. It's really an opportunity for yourself to evolve, to get to know who you are better. And one of your phrases, you know, bigger, stronger, better, like that phrase, whenever you look back, you always have to look back in some senses just to measure your unit of growth.
Yeah.
You're just continuing forward, 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 and you don't glance back, sometimes it's really hard to notice that you have taken some major leaps and some major transformations. So make sure that you do that for yourself along this way. And however long you've been involved with the opportunity community, just rewind to the beginning and measure your unit of growth. That would be a really awesome process, like even for you, spiritual bodybuilder, to do that. I know we were talking about it recently, but this is something beautiful to build a community.
Yeah, it's been a really great blessing. Also, like, there's been quite a few of you other guys in here that have been making videos and branding yourself and getting more trusting and sure with like doing card readings or energy healing and stuff. So it's really great and beautiful to know and be a part of that, like nudging along to help you go in that direction. And it's super humbling and I'm really grateful to be able to have been a part of that too. And it's a constant growth. It's funny because I saw your post today, Meru, and some of the fucking like just the way that you look from like when you started your YouTube channel. It's your energy, just everything is just completely fucking different. It's it's a real trip and a real like just beautiful honor just to see the growth and have been such a huge part of the process, especially with sitting with Mother Aya and just doing all the really deep healing work that we've done together. It's really fucking incredible.
It really is. And yeah, that was part of the process as well. Is it's not just astrology, it's not just building kind of spin-offs of everything, but it's also been the journey of retreats and plant medicine. And I honestly don't recognize my life. That's why I was posting some of the pictures from the beginning, is like, dang, even my voice, whenever I was listening to one of my first videos, I was like, I sound like a little kid. I might actually like a little kid. And in my head, I think I sound more mature. Definitely was like, oh, you know, hi, beautiful beings.
That's awesome. Oh yeah.
But I definitely know that your community is interested in learning more about their starseed lineage. And I'm open to answering any questions that you all might already have percolating, any that you have personally. And then I will be creating a code. It's just going to be Love OC, Love Opportunity Community, on SunSoulAstrology.com for just you guys to receive 15% off of the Starseed DNA PDF.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. And it's always nice to know.
You got that right.
Mm-hmm.
So can you go into like the sort of like a foundation, just like, like for complete beginners that don't even really know about, Starseed DNA, what it's actually all about and what kind of information that they can get from it?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're, unfamiliar with star seeds, you're a volunteer, you're a star seed, whether you're activated or not. And so upon this evolution that you're going through of self-awareness, self-knowledge, discovering what are your talents and your abilities, you're going through all of these different layers that shedding through the human experience of being indoctrinated and programmed by this system that is the matrix hologram itself, programmed with an illusion that our perspectives are like our mind is perceiving as something we call reality, which is so funny that it's not reality. It's like a conundrum. um but yeah, so we as souls hail from so many different places throughout this particular Milky Way galaxy and even beyond. So at some point along the way, they put out a call for us to basically come here to Earth and help to raise the vibration and the frequency for this particular moment in time, whenever that old Earth lower dimensional frequency is being shut off and the new Earth frequency is stepping up in the vibrational spectrum, causing things to be lighter and also faster. Each of us have soul missions, and we know that, right? And there's been a lot of souls that came here long time ago during the times of Sumerian, Lemurian, Atlantean, ancient Kemet, Egypt types of times, and they were higher master beings and unfortunately got wrapped up in the reincarnational wheel, because that's part of the thing is you start to forget um, a lot of things whenever you come to the third dimension and whenever you come to this earth frequency. And also we have this thing called love. So come here, fall in love, and you start to sacrifice everything for that. So however it ends up that these souls kind of get trapped into the reincarnational wheel of earth, we're some very old souls from out there beyond, and answered that call to come here, do the volunteer work, and wake up. But we're also the ones that signed up for, the poopy end of the stick on
That was cute.
a yeah, we've really, we're not here to play games, what I call the reindeer games. We're here to actually through pressure become diamonds sort of aspect. So yeah, the Starseed mission is that you understand you've come from somewhere out there. So of course we're the ones that are drawn to the night sky. We're the ones that are looking for the alien to come and abduct us, like anytime, anywhere, beam me up, I'm out kind of situation. Not feeling like you're a part of any particular family, culture, group, religion, knowing that your most comfortable space is kind of in your own space, because starseeds are super empathic, highly intuitive, just really aware of what other people are not aware of. So yeah, they always tend to be separated and singled out as someone who's very strange and very weird, highly misunderstood. And the further we go back generationally speaking, they're the ones that got in the most trouble for their ideas, right? Being locked up in isolation. And as well, a lot of them are the ones that brought us into the hippie movement and into psychedelics and became psychonauts and really, you know, finding that door. It's like, where's the door? I need the door. Like, I need to go home. ET phone home, help. So yeah, as far as like the star seeds go, whenever they become activated, they have a tremendous amount of power to serve as keys to activate many more groups, many more individuals. And so everything has to do with your free will. It has to do with your authenticity. It also has to do with your independence. And you could choose to activate, you could choose not to activate. And whenever star seeds are not activated, they definitely don't live within the, how do I want to say, it's like the integrity of their mission. A lot of non-activated star seeds I would consider to be, for lack of a better term, it's the narcissist. I think that the activated empaths are those who are super empaths, and those who are non-activated tend to be the narcissist. So it's kind of acting out of a place where somebody is always a victim and somebody's always blaming someone else for missing the boat, right? Missing opportunities and things like that. So unactivated starseeds definitely still desire to live in the acceptance of other people, and still like trying to gain validation from others. Whereas your activated starseed, they're in harmony. They could just give two flying F's about whether someone likes them or if they don't, if they accept what they're saying or don't. A non-activated starseed is going to kind of more preach from a place of superiority, and an activated starseed is going to be much more humble and reserved. And again, they're not going to super broadcast a lot of different things, because it's their nature. They're just being themselves. They're not being extraordinary. They're just being the best version of themselves that they possibly can. And at the end of the day, that's what we came here for, is to lift the veil, to expose the truth that's being hidden. And I think that that's why a lot of star seeds have to go through a tremendous amount of oppression and suppression and just hard knock situations in their lives, because they need to be able to show that it's possible. You know, we're not victims to any of the circumstances that we've been through. It's not about what happens, it's about how you respond to it. It's about how, you know, how far did you fall down? Okay, well, how tall are you going to stand whenever you get back up? And that's what really inspires change and transformation, is whenever nobody can tell until you know, go into the story or you express some of this stuff, because everybody just has this idea. And the starseed qualities is that we could see past the ideas of just this base level tone, where everybody who was born of privilege is the lucky ones, when that's not the truth whatsoever. Those of us who were born really knowing, really having to battle insecurities and self-doubts, and going through situations where we were the person that we couldn't trust most of all, in order to find this strong sense of self-knowing. And like finally one day just being like, you know what, like the last person that's going to stand in my way is going to be me. Like the world is already set up for that. Like, don't join the party. Like, you know, bean beep bean to your own drum. So that's what activated star seeds are really all about. That self-understanding, the self-overcoming, the inner standing, the inner peace, and then having the trust and having the ability to bring that ancient knowledge and to tap into your starseed locations, so that you could become a beacon and a transmitter of light. And those are light codes. Those are your DNA codes activating bigger parts of yourself, stepping into yourself, more realizations, downloads, uploads, like kaboom, like, oh my God, I can't feel my legs. Like, it's just nuts, you know, like all this information stream coming in. How do you decipher it? How do you assist people? And this human condition is like, oh my God, I'm getting so much information. What do I do with it? Well, you just freaking just say it. Just do it. Just record it. Just write it. Just do something. You know, do something.
Wow.
And you know, and that's the craziest part, is that we all wish for these talents and abilities, and then they come, and then it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with it. So stop with that. That's step number one. Stop with that. Just do. You don't need these big plans. And that's one of the things that I've done the entire time that I've had my own process. Is it just all manifested on its own from one idea to the next. And I just went with it. I have Uranus retrograde in my chart, so that's what I'm supposed to do. And in essence, that's what we're all supposed to do, because it's the message about following our own authenticity, which means the part that sets us aside from somebody else. And I know that, like, the base years of a person's life, 0 to 7, is the most important. And how you've been programmed there is going to reflect throughout your entire life. But that's the key, is that it doesn't have to. So whenever you felt like you were alien, whenever you thought that you saw aliens under your bed or in your closet, whenever, you knew that the movie E.T. was real, like whenever you knew the never ending story and Falcor was real, right? It's like, yeah,
Oh
what
yeah.
we're drawn to some really epic stuff when you're in like Star Wars and you're like pew pew pew. It's real. It's all very real, and now we're figuring this out. And so it's really your belief. It has to come back to support you and what you're doing. And it sounds bat titi caca, but it's, it's actually real. And the hologram, the program, it's all been manipulated to look backwards. So whatever you think is forwards, maybe check it out from a different perspective.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a couple questions here. But first, Roslyn, thank you for joining us. And we have since this is your first time, we have a very special guest here speaking with us. My astrology mentor, Meru Matu. So nothing to be nervous about. Just hang out, enjoy the ride, and listen. If you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. And we're all family here. Okay. So. First, I actually have a question. With the current trend that's going on right now, what starseed activations are most prominent going on, like for the collective?
Oh, good question. Good question. Well, Jupiter is actually conjunct to Vega, which is one of the 15 Bohemian royal fixed stars, but it is a place of really intense power on so many different levels. And I mean, I can go into why that is. Like I said, it's an extensive story. So if you're down to, I'm down to tell it. But yeah, Vega. And it's actually just starting to not be aspected at this moment. Uh, Jupiter's just moved to 18 degrees. Now, when it comes to starseed DNA, we're looking for a 2-degree orb on each side of a particular planet or aspect. And I'm not sure if anyone in here doesn't know what an orb is, but it's just another message for degree. So if Vega is located at 15 degrees of Capricorn, then if you have your inner and your outer planets right in the MCIC, ACDC, within degrees, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17 degrees of Capricorn, then you're going to know that you're a Vega star seed. So that's the example. Venus is actually transiting right now conjunct to the royal fixed star of the north called Regulus. And that's a really beautiful placement for so many different reasons. As far as just fixed stars go in general, it's called the kingmaker. So in ancient times, whenever a royal heir was born with their rising or their sun in a conjunction to Regulus, they were able to bypass in succession even an older sibling and be named king or queen.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a really, really powerful place. And the fun part is that it's also considered to be like the never ending story. The person that created that movie really was a regular star seed. And it's, the land of fantasy and lore. It's where the mermaids and the mermen come from. It's also where the fairies, the nymphs, and the elementals come from. So those that are from Regulus are really attracted to crystals, and it's like, I don't want to say more witchy type of things, but more esoteric, like how do you want to say, like bougie esoteric?
Nice.
I
Gotta
think
have the
it,
best crystals and the best sacred geometry designs.
yes.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah, fleek kind of a thing. Yeah, and the one that's like, no, this has like more than two ingredients. I can't eat it. Um,
That's going on a lot right now. I must be
yeah,
heavily
I know
activated.
a lot of people.
Okay,
Sometimes
so
those people.
um, oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna. Was there any more activations, or is that pretty much the gist of it right now?
Definitely are. Mars retrograde is at the Andromeda galaxy, which
Oh,
is intense. One of the cool things is that the Andromeda constellation, which is a visible constellation from Earth's point of view, but okay, and this is the coolest part. The constellation of Andromeda is what houses the Andromeda galaxy. And if you're familiar with the Andromeda galaxy, it's the next closest spiral galaxy to the Milky Way. So, how is that possible that a constellation inside the Milky Way actually houses a galaxy that's outside?
hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. So, with Mars there, also today, the moon is there in that constellation. And that's where, souls from other galaxies, other universes, other dimensions, they pass through the Andromeda portals. So there's physical beings, dimensional beings that come through there. And it's almost like a looking glass technology. So ascended masters also use that as a portal for entry into Earth. They've usually passed um, through Arcturus and also Antares to get here. It's like Antares is where you pass through so that you don't forget your past life memories, so that you are much more mission oriented. And Arcturus is where you pass through as an ascended master who has to go from really high dimensional frequencies in spectrum into, they get ready to incarnate into Earth when they've hit about the fifth dimension, so that it's not such a shock, right? Because our bodies, if you look at like the Elohim creation story through the Starseed information, is that they had to actually build physical bodies. And there was a lot of catastrophes in the process of creating a physical body that could house a massive vibration. And so that's why some people, you're not ready and you get pregnant, and the star seed that's coming in is really, really, really high vibing, and your body just breaks down. So sometimes we're not able to carry that frequency still just yet. So the more that we rise in our own frequencies, the more that we do this work, the better quality of souls we're going to bring in. That's also something that Arcturus teaches us, because they are the cosmic midwifery is what it's referred to as. And they're not necessarily physical, they're not necessarily non-physical, but they do have the masculine feminine energetic spark. So it's like they have an equivalent of themselves, equal partnership, twin flame type of union, and they come together for this kundalini activation merge type of experience, and the amplification of both of those souls. So say they're two 12D souls, they're going to call in a being that's from the 24th level of frequency, and they make a product of the culmination of both of them. And that's what then helps to assist, because it's that process of descension in order to come here to help us to ascend. Like, so that's some big work. But if that doesn't tell us something about the quality that we need to have in reference to our relationships, I really don't know what does, right? Like, do not mix your DNA with crappy DNA. That's just my biggest recommendation for anyone out there who needs that. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, keep that spiritual promiscuity down to a minimum, guys. All right, so let's see here. Too late. All right, so Janoski asked, my MC is a degree off from the serious position. How can I use that energy?
All right. So your midheaven is definitely talking about what you came here to do as far as your soul's purpose. The Syrians came here to be pretty dead ass about things. Um, Syrians are known as portal beings. So you're an activation key, right? So just being in your presence is meant to activate people. You don't have to talk, you don't have to really do a lot. It's just being present, holding space, and teaching the lessons of discernment is a really big part of it. So since it's your calling, it has to do with healing, it has to do with ancient knowledge. It really does have to do with passing along the information. Yo, you said this person gives you bad vibes. Why are you still kicking it with them?
Right.
These are simple things that can be used. It's a very divine feminine energy as well. It's very Isis, Mary Magdalene, connected with the dolphins and the whales, the sonar, like the frequencies, the vibrations, like really communicating long distance without verbal. So a lot of Syrian star seeds, some of their mid-heaven activations definitely bring about singing, songwriting, painting, things that carry vibration that isn't necessarily all verbal. It's just really like energetic.
Fuck yeah. Okay. That
That was lovely. Thank
yeah, that
you so much. And can I just say something really quick? Because today I pulled out this card from the Starseed Oracle, Andromeda.
wow.
So it's just giving me like, so I was like, yeah, just that.
Jump in. Fuck yeah, get it.
Beautiful.
Okay. Love it. Okay, so Emma asked, how does the sun sign influence the power strength of your starseed DNA? And she only ever wanted Falcor to be real. I feel you. Me too.
What was the last part about? Oh, okay. Only ever wanted Falcor to be real. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to marry Atreyu. Speaking of, never mind. Okay. So yeah, it just depends on if your sun actually makes a conjunction to one of these locations. Like for instance, and I know somebody asked what is a walk-in. I'll definitely get to that. So I do have my original soul's chart, and in my original soul's chart, my sun is conjunct to Sirius in the Canis Major constellation, which is where it's located, right? It's most associated with the sign of Cancer. And that's where it gets interesting, right? Because astrology, we're going based off of the zodiac. And with fixed stars, we're going based off of the constellations. So it does get a little bit tricky and a little bit confusing. The constellation of Orion is what is associated with Gemini. The constellation of Andromeda is what's connected to Aries mostly. And then some of them just spread throughout. So in my walk-in chart, which is a chart I go by, my sun is 12 degrees of Scorpio, which does not make a conjunction to any starseed locations. So it just depends on the individual. It depends on if you have a conjunction, or even sometimes a connection, which is on the oppositional side. So yeah, if you do have a sun position that is connected to a starseed location, that is a place of, just like the sun expresses in astrology, it is your soul. That's why I'm Sun Soul Astrology, right? So you can see how you as a being, as an entity, like the energy, right? We're not here as a physical body having a spiritual experience, right? We're a spiritual entity incarnated into the physical, experiencing itself through the remembering. So your attributes are heavily going to be colored with that particular starseed location. And how you find that out is by getting one of the starseed PDFs. And I do still need to input that code. So just to let you know, like as soon as this broadcast ends, with the Love OC, and it's actually SunSoulAstrology.com is where you will go to book that instead of sunsoul.tv.
Sorry.
It's all good. I have too many different things going on. Yeah. But I'll do that so that you know every place. And some of the locations cross multiple starseed locations. Like for instance, if you have something around the galactic center in Sagittarius, that's also going to cross through Draco, through Cygnus and through Ophiuchus. Yeah, as well as the galactic center. So there's like, it's kind of annoying when that happens, because I'm like, much work just for one location. And it's really fascinating, but your story is really cool at the end of the day. All right. And then?
And then. So the walk-in.
All right. So we're at the walk-in. Welcome to the walk-in conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, you've made quite a few YouTube videos about this too, right?
You know, I've only made like one main one. It was my first video that I ever made for YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thinking about that as I was getting ready is like, what a bummer I am. Somebody who wants to know so much, I'd be so excited to learn more about the walk-ins from myself. And I'm like, I'm just so busy with everything since I started. Literally since I started, I've just been booked AF and distracted by actually working. So some of those original videos that I really wanted to get into, I haven't. But walk-in is a form of reincarnation, is the best way that I like to explain it, except for you're not reincarnating from birth and going through the diaper stage and learning how to walk and talk. Whenever my physical body was 23 years old, I got salmonella poisoning from an egg and literally kicked the bucket, like full on death, and was in a hospital. I had to be brought back by a crash cart. They actually called her time of death, which is my birth chart. So I'm really, from an unfortunate set of events, became very fortunate that as a walk-in, I do have my actual birth chart. And so attempting to bring her back brought me in. And it's a really great way for soul exchange to happen and for mission directive to continue on, because as souls, we really do have these checkpoints. In my original soul's chart, Pluto was transiting her Neptune retrograde exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly, to the minute, degree, and second. So it was, I don't play with Pluto transits and Neptune in any way, shape, or form. Astrologically, it's considered to be a dark night of the soul. Pluto's message is transform now or die. It's just like sometimes Pluto's like super real about that. And so my original soul had a lot of tremendous capabilities and possibilities to raise up and just didn't. And partook in way too many reindeer games, is what I would say. So it was like, all right, you're out, next player in. And these are things that we've already kind of designated from a higher self perspective. And they're soul-based contracts. And it's like, you get your chance, you do what you do. And if at this point in time, whenever this astrological hand clock ticks on your alarm, if you're not there, then you're out. Someone else is coming in. So I remember standing out on this like great vista. I remember my life from where I came from, Sirius B. And I remember making the decision like, okay, this is it. And just like looking back at my family and stepping out on this big glowing ball of fire, and just all of a sudden, like, I'm here. Like I was having her after death experience. I was seeing what she saw and going through her journey. And at this point, she was running on these rose bushes, like on top of them. And these two baby green dragons just jumped out of the rose bushes and bit right on her heart. And that was them shocking with a crash cart, and it hurt. And so I came in a heap of pain.
Wow.
And I just looked at my hands and was like, eh. Like, whoa, what? Okay. Like, what did I really do? Because I all of a sudden felt so far from home, and I felt so foreign from myself, and I didn't know anything. I didn't come in with any of her memories from before 23. And so, asking me my name, Meru Matu, that's me. That's my higher self. That's who I am. and then this process of figuring out who the heck was I was on life support for 2.5 weeks in the hospital there. And just everything came out. Like it was like a full digestion of her system, like everything. Like I think I just puked and I just excreted her in every way, shape, and form. Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey along the way, because when I left the hospital, I didn't know where I lived. You know, I didn't know what my car looked like. My ex that moved out while I was in the hospital dropped off my keys. I had to go out in the parking lot and like hit the alarm button. And luckily I came downloaded still with common sense. Praise God. No, that was like an attribute that carried over for sure. But yeah, I got fortunate and was still downloaded with the English language and with the ability to think critically. And the whole mission has been, okay, quickly figure out, why did you choose this body? Because the answers lie within that. And that's what got me into the Rh negative blood, discovering that I am an O negative, because you don't really find that out anymore unless you've been through some sort of life altering trauma, such as what I went through. And my mom being my original soul's mom, she was obsessed with genealogy. So she had done the family lineage all the way back to the beginning. And that didn't really come as a piece of the puzzle until about 3-4 years after I got here. And I had already started studying everything I walked in 2003. All right. So I'm 16. And that's always the funnest part. Where are you from and how old are you? Okay, here we go again. I'm from Sirius B. Any more questions? But yeah, it's fascinating because that's a long time ago, right? Like it seems like a long time ago, but I've been on this journey of uncovering the truth since the moment that I stepped in. So you could call me a conspiracy theorist from that day, like studying the secret society groups and understanding why they do what they do, because I got taken out by an egg. I was pretty interested in how breakfast killed me. And so I started studying all about food and additives and all these different things that they put into the water, that they put into the air, like chemtrails and weather modification and Monsanto and genetically modifying our DNA through our food. Like I walked in as straight vegan. Like I didn't have a soda. I didn't use a microwave. I didn't have meat, dairy. I stayed away from everything for years and years and years. And I was militant hardcore. I was not understanding the human game. I was like, somebody was drinking a Coke. I like quarterback tackled them. Like, it's gonna kill you. Do you know what this does? Like I was a walking encyclopedia of what can kill you. So that sucked. But yeah, it's been a very interesting journey to be in a body that you don't recognize, to have a face that you don't know, to be in a family that's not yours. It's like never ending Halloween. But certain things have triggered memory sequences. And it's like, I remember her dreams more so than anything at all. I remember her dreams. And this has just been one heck of a strange journey. And so walk-in experiences, they're incredibly rare, but they do happen, especially during massive astrological transits. Transits that definitely make conjunctions of starseed locations. Like my original soul's sun was in the constellation of Canis Major. My Saturn is retrograde, coming back to Earth, literally dead on top of Sirius, grounding me into Earth, into the 4th house, into this, what's going on here? You know, it's like, it's amazing how many things switched out. My original soul was a Virgo moon. I'm a Pisces moon. She's a 6th house moon. I'm a 12th house moon. It's just all so fascinating. I could go on for days and days about how the chart switched out, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, such fascinating stuff. You guys can always go ahead and check out her YouTube channel. I know that one video that you did a long time ago goes really in depth And there's so much fascinating information here. It really makes you see things at a whole new cosmic level. So let's move on to the next question. Speaking of the Rh negative blood type, it says Rh negative O blood types from a specific area.
Actually, I mean, they can come from anywhere, but the highest concentration comes from Cygnus. And as I was mentioning earlier, Cygnus is a location that is not well known in any way, shape, or form. The way that I came into the information about Cygnus was really just looking at the night sky. I'm obsessed with being outside, and Nahum knows this. Like, I'm always outside looking at the stars. So where I used to live before I moved into my new spot, I was just always looking up, and there was this big, huge, like kind of bluer looking star. And it turned out that it was at 5 degrees of Pisces, and it's called Deneb. And my Mars is in Pisces, and it's at 8 degrees, which is Scat. So I'm like, wow, it's in the constellation of Cygnus. That's cool. And then just by happenstance, I'm listening to Graham Hancock like later that night, and he's talking about the pyramids in Giza, how 25,000 years ago they aligned the belt stars, right, with the pyramids. And then as time has gone on, now we're in the age of Pisces, right? So in the age of Pisces, the constellation of Cygnus, which looks like a swan, aligns not only to the pyramids of Giza, but also to the Giza Plateau, the four corners and everything like that. And the beak points towards the Tomb of the Birds, which is Thoth's tomb, is what they believe. But as soon as they found it, it's like they could only go so far into it, because it was like, oh my gosh, we found this thing, and they didn't have the proper equipment and anything like that. So by the time that they went back to excavate it, it was blocked off, like cemented off. So it does hold some major keys to things. And the constellation of Cygnus actually does hold many confirmed planets. Like, what? Okay, so how does this constellation in the Milky Way contain multiple confirmed planets whenever we only know about the planets that we know about? Like, these are all the weird things that you find out when you start studying starseed stuff that is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Wow.
And it also has multiple nebulas. One of them is called the North American Nebula. And it really does signify that a great majority of those who are from Cygnus chose to incarnate in North America. And they hold the similarities and the traits of the Rh negative bloodlines. Okay, one of the things that I also want to say is that Cygnus X1 was the first black hole to ever be discovered, obviously located in Cygnus, right? So it's really someplace that's influenced us very, very greatly. And it has locations in Pisces, also some in Aquarius, as well as Sagittarius. So it just depends on specifically where that crosses. But Cygnus people, they carry a really high alpha vibration. That's one of the things that Rh negatives do carry. People don't always know what to make of them, so it's a bit off-putting, and it's usually the story of what attracts someone towards you. Ultimately, it pushes them away. I mean, we've all been in the narcissist empath type of situation. So it's like, oh, you're so great, you're so loving, you're so kind, and then it turns into no one but me will ever love you. You know, and it's like sort of situations. And they also carry a lot of Virgoian traits, but that's where the highest concentration of them come from.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next, do you know anything about Mintakan?
Yeah, it's located at 22 degrees of Gemini, and it is in the Orion constellation. So all of the Orion traits and attributes are what connect here. I don't do fixed star astrology as much as I just do starseed astrology. So whenever you make a conjunction to one of these fixed stars located in the constellation of what's marking you to be that starseed, that's what I go off of. And that's the information I bring you. So that's going to translate into an Orion starseed. And the Orion starseeds are some inquisitive mofos, all right? um, Everything to do with analysis. And also very much the black sheep of the family, never understood. It's kind of like the Orions, in a sense, are, how do I want to say, they're like blamed for a lot of family issues. Not even just like exiled, but they're blamed. Like, you're the cause, you're the reason. And so they do carry this interesting amount of guilt along with them. But very powerful beings in their own right. And there is some intensity that comes with the Orion starseeds. There's something called the Orion Empire of the Unholy Six, which spreads mostly through the Orion constellation. Okay, is not one of those spots, but Polaris, Betelgeuse, Beltrex, and also Rigel, which is really interesting. Last night, as I was sitting outside, the constellation of Orion lit up. Like, Betelgeuse just started going boom, 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 and then Rigel started going boom, 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 and they're both like the end points. Like, Betelgeuse is basically the head, and Rigel's like the foot. And now that I'm really connecting the dots even further, telling you guys about this, they're both unholy six locations, and that's a long story in and of its own. But yeah, Orion starseed.
All right. Bam. Shit. Going deep. Okay. So let's see. What's next? Do you remember how Earth differs from Sirius B?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in many ways. And there's also some similarities that go along with it. Sirius B is very much water-based, but it really and truly feels familiar, like being home whenever I'm in the jungle in Peru. And it's very indigenous, it's very tribal. Like, the work of ayahuasca that I do, ayahuasca is from Sirius B. And it was the gift of Sirius B to seed human consciousness. And there's another master plant teacher called Noirao, which is a bioluminescent tree. Beautiful, like in the movie Avatar. And it's more like, it is a masculine energy, but you naturally want to refer to Noirao as a female. It comes from Sirius C, which is a bioluminescent planet, or, body. So it's really deep whenever you look into it like that, because whenever you go into plant medicine and you see all these like extreme textures, colors, you really see the places between vibration. That's tremendously how it is. Like, when I left Sirius B, I was 16. So it's been like this really like big homecoming. My 16th birthday was in the jungle in Peru, deep in ayahuasca. So it makes perfect sense. That's where that information was given to me. So really cool stuff. But yeah, it's much more like my background. That's actually why I made my background the way that it is those are the color schemes of Sirius. A lot of blue that is deeper than our blue. A lot of purple, and just, you can see so much more is what I want to say. And because Sirius C is bioluminescent, like, everything glows on Sirius B. And I've always been attracted to like glow in the dark neon colors and things like that. But the people do look much more Mayan, much more Aztec. And then also there is the kind of just energetic energy that's able to be perceived much more. So there's a lot of technological advancement, but there's not a lot of evidence of it, meaning there's not big factories, there's not big buildings, everything is still connected to the land and to the water.
Yeah, I feel like these kind of gifts and awarenesses and things are starting to become, they're going to start to become more predominant, especially in the age of Aquarius. Especially when it comes to like healthcare, like healing, things like this, as it's already like just coming into a whole new level. Which actually brings me to my next question here. So, can you talk about the role of awakened starseeds in the upcoming age of Aquarius?
Yeah, so everything that I was talking about with the awakened star seeds, we're here to contribute obviously to this evolution. And this is a change of the equinox, right? This is based off of the wobble, the tilt of the earth, and going through these processions. And they take a long time. So it's like, what's on the other side of Aquarius? That is Leo. Okay, so if we go back to the age of Leo, we are going back 25,000 years ago, like I was mentioning about Cygnus coming into the age of Pisces, right? So the role of the awakened starseed for the age of Aquarius is to be able to embody their true individual authenticity. Like if right now you can't do that, you're not assisting this mission. Like, and that's just the truth. It's the sucky truth, but it's the truth that each and every one of us needs to hear. If we're still living in fear, if we're still following the leader, if we're still in analysis paralysis, as you like to say, right? Aquarius has everything to do with illumination of the people, awakening the people, letting go of chains, breaking boundaries and borders, being a rebel, going against the grain, starting new traditions. And one of the biggest ways that you can kind of measure your unit of value is, are you still caught up in third dimensional relationships? Are you still supporting the narcissist archetype? Are you still settling? That's some really, really good medicine for each and every person out there. Because if those are the things that you're still doing, you're not here to assist. You're not doing your job yet. And yeah, I am an 8th house Scorpio, so I do say it like it is. And also, Saturn retrograde in the 4th house of Capricorn, a little cold. But at the same time, I'm very, very loving. And that's the thing, is that love is one of the most powerful frequencies on this planet. And it's not the distorted perspective of love. Love is unconditional. Love is not through attachment. Love does not have expectations. And love doesn't love in order to gain with return. So if obviously you can't step into your power, then obviously what are you going to do? What are you doing? And I mean, stepping into one's power, it looks different for everybody. I think that people just have this overall idea like, well, I have to like affect huge masses of people. No, like you really just have to get your ish together. That's what you got to do and start living by it. Right? So your relationships with your family, your friends, your children, your intimate partnerships, they need to come into right alignment. And it's Libra season right now. This is a really great time to check yourself before you wreck yourself, type of thing, because everything to do with Libra has to do with balance. And that balance is based off of the 42 ideal principles of Ma'at. And this is like living in a virtuous path. It literally, like, the first ideal is I honor virtue. Third one, I am peaceful. These are how you get to the age of Aquarius and to being of assistance. Because if you're not peaceful, what are you doing? And I know that a lot of us that we've seen on the world stage, people have gone cray cray. They really have. Number 4 is I respect the property of others. So, I think that this time frame has been a really illuminating time frame to the truth about yourself and the truth about others, because despite what people have to say, actions speak louder than words. So moving into the age of Aquarius, your words and your actions and your thoughts need to be in alignment, because it is the age of awakening. It is the age of light, right? It's the age in which we move out of chaos and we move into order. And also, number 5, I affirm that all life is sacred. I give offerings that are genuine. I live in truth. I regard all altars with respect. These are definite. This is what the 10 Commandments is taken from. This is the ideals and the principles that we're meant to live from. Like, no BS.
Amen. And so, I mean, basically, to add on to that too, like the age of Aquarius is essentially ascending to the fifth dimension, right? So, in order to be able to be present in that vibration, that is essentially what authenticity and living in your truth from your heart is. It's heart-based living. So, and you know, the age of Aquarius is coming, is upon us, especially after this threshold we cross from the Jupiter Saturn conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. But some people can choose not to do that, and it's a difficult choice. Like you would think, oh, of course, I'm gonna keep going. It's easy, but a lot of people, this fear comes up, this shit hits them, and it's painful and it hurts and it's cathartic, and then they allow the circumstances to keep them suppressed. So that's why the more of us that are living in our authenticity and in our heart and doing the work, the more that we influence that collective vibration, and the more people that end up feeling that like you get that compelling desire, like I have to do this. I fucking have to. I don't have a fucking choice anymore. It's just driving me nuts. I can't sit here. And then and then suddenly the vibration shifts and they start bringing in, like they start attracting like a magnet these other people. That's why you all are here right now, right? Because you felt a vibrational match with this process and you trust the process. And as we continue to work on that vibration, we continue to learn and grow and elevate that. So it's all so almost like so simple, it's easy to miss, right? Yeah, beautiful. Well, let's see. Rosalind, I feel like I need to try plant medicine. I feel you. I think everybody, well, just about everybody should. In fact, I'm going to call best friend David and ask him to come on here to talk about plant medicine, probably for next week or whenever he's available. So I think you guys will really enjoy his energy. Me, David in Peru, me, David and Peru have all been done some really great, amazing work together, and he has just incredible energy. He's a great teacher and a very, very, very authentic and smart when it comes to this work too. So you guys can look forward to that. So I appreciate all you guys for all great questions. Great. I mean, I fucking learned a lot from this too. Thank you. And let's see, Esther, I've had confirmations of being from Orion Pleiadians. Aren't those two different constellations or locations? But you can have both, right?
You can have both. It just depends on your placements. The Pleiades, and it's kind of interesting. Sometimes whenever I hear astrologers talk about these things, it just is like gut wrenching. Because they'll try to match locations that aren't there. Like whenever something passes through Taurus, it's like the Pleiades is being activated. Like, no, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fixed stars. That's the thing about fixed stars. Like, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's just like the microwave being made of nuclear material. Just nuke it. Like okay, so stars. Fixed, like what? They don't move. What?
Right.
For like thousands of years, like they just stay put. And so that's why we're matching these locations against fixed stars, is because they have the power to hold that information for long spans of time. So the longer that a planet or a body stays there, like these fixed stars, the closer the degree of orb. If you're 10 degrees away, like everybody's 10 degrees away, like that's nothing special. That has no correlation. So dealing with fixed stars, you deal with 2-degree orbs. End of story. And that's just how it is. The Virgo gets me on that one. So we stick to it.
So what about in the scenario, like in a progressed chart, if you have a planet that
do with starseeds?
No? Okay.
Progressed charts don't have anything to do with starseeds, and neither do draconic charts, because the draconic chart is your higher self in general, and it's not. It doesn't correlate to where things are now, if that makes sense. It's all based off of your north node, south node, and moving it to the 0 Aries Libra. So a lot of people try to take these things and make them more than they really are, and a lot of people love to try to incorporate the asteroids. Like I was saying, like asteroids move incredibly fast, you know, so this is fixed star. This is really at the base core, the fundamental parts about your blueprint, once again, like I was saying at the beginning. And until you at least understand that, stop complicating life. You know, time he sends you a chart like you used to do, and I was like, what is this just hot mess? Like, looking at this chart until you just take all that off. Like, I can't. So it's like really understand your fundamental core, go on the basis of it. Like if you're a Pleiadian starseed, the Pleiades is literally located at 27, 28 degrees of Taurus and also 0 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so if you have something 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 of Taurus, 0 degrees of Gemini, 1 degrees and 2 degrees of Gemini, then you have Pleiadian starseed DNA. If you don't.
Okay, good to know. Well, thank you so much, Meru. I love you and I appreciate you. Before we go, Emma, would you like to pull a card for the community for today?
Yay.
Sure. And it's I pulled it just before our session, and it's actually quite interesting because it's from, I pulled the Beyond Lemuria book again because I love these pictures, and it's life force energy. So obviously really fascinating in light with what we've been talking about today. So yeah, thank you, Meru. I found this so interesting. But what I do when I suppose I see this card is just it reminds me of the complete power within us all. And I think we're all on this discovery journey as we're all here talking and learning and delving into some really super fascinating things. And I think just reminds us that we do really have everything that we need within ourselves. That's what really came through when I pulled the card. So I'll read the little blurb at the start of the book. It's quite a long one. I'll actually go to the divinatory meaning because I think that's a nicer one. It is time for celebration. Revel in the bliss to be alive. This is an incredibly healing card packed with luminous life force energy for optimal health and healing. It reminds you to seek joy and upliftment in everything you do as much as possible. Consider the foods you eat, the environments you spend your time in, the people in your life, and even the things you wear. Increase your awareness of their journey and how they came to be in your world. Their energetic resonance, are they alive and vibrant? You may be also inspired to work with the healing energies such as Reiki or with the land, perhaps to grow vegetables. You are encouraged to joyously make your life a piece of Eden. As a result, you will shine with vitality. So I think that's a beautiful message to end today. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, and I'll post that on the community. So thank you. And thank you, Meru, for all your wonderful information.
Yeah, thank you so much, Meru. So if you guys, please go ahead on Instagram too and follow Meru at SunSoulAstrology. And I'm sure you can go ahead and message her directly, or you can message me if you need that information for that discount code again. There we go. And other than that, man, what a great, powerful meeting today. I love all you guys very much. Thank all you guys for showing up. And Sinead, we're gonna hang up from this. Give me 5 minutes, then we'll jump back on. Okay, same Zoom information.
Quick thing before we go is that the link is activated now in SunSoulAstrology.com. Love OC is the code for 15% off of the Starseed DNA PDF only. And it's all given back to you in the order which received. So if you want to be first on the list, hurry up.
Beautiful.
My time. Thank you so much for having me on. And I wish all of you the best day. Remember to integrate everything that you learn each and every day of your life. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the future.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Bye.